in spite of the massive Allied bombing campaigns and the lack of some raw materials, German production of tanks kept increasing until 1944. But, as the graph illustrates, in spite of its technologically superior tanks, Germany was doomed to lose the war against the combined economical might of the Soviet Union and the United States, who both focused on mass-producing simpler constructions. Until the very end, Germany manufactured tanks which were more complicated to produce and service. German manufacturing of tanks began in 1934. The German industry had not produced arms in many years, and time was required to develop the necessary techniques for hardening steel and for the development of tooling to produce arms. The first tank type produced was the two-man Panzer I light tank, designed and produced by the Krupp Works as a training vehicle. Noting that Germany was the third largest producer of automobiles in the world, it was projected that Germany would be competitive with its major adversaries, a rather optimistic projection since Germany had great difficulty replacing vehicle losses throughout the war. The United States had been considered a non-combatant, and it totally ignored Soviet production capacity. The companies that ended up gaining the contracts for tank production had limited actual experience in mass production. Germany in general, and the German tank production industry in particular, was not prepared for the total war that Germany was entering in 1939. In contrast to the Messerschmitt ME 109 fighter aircraft, which was designed with the production of large numbers of aircraft in mind, tank design and production in Germany in 1939 was the work of craftsmen. German industry anticipated supporting the military in brief conflicts. A full commitment to war production was not made until the midpoint of the conflict. Surprisingly, civilian vehicle production was not set aside until 1943. By contrast, British car companies switched to war production, making military transports, aircraft and tanks at the start of the war, and the United States halted production of civilian automobiles within 2 months of its entry into the war in late 1941. In the run-up to the outbreak of the war, the large companies engaged in tank production did not have space set aside for expanding their production lines. In consequence, unlike Allied manufacturers, German tank manufacturers never came to a point where they were stockpiling and storing excess finished products. Though these companies did expand with the increasing demand of the ongoing war, it was not until the assignment of Albert Speer as Minister of Armaments that true efforts were made to bring mass production techniques to German tank production industry. It's clear from the graph that the American tank industry far outproduced the German tank industry. The main question becomes, why was German tank production so low? Because German tanks were produced incredibly inefficiently. German tanks were not produced in an automobile-like assembly line, but rather a workstation assembly line. This meant that tanks were generally assembled in a manner more akin to aircraft manufacturing. Stationary hulls are assembled in tanks by a single team of workers. Furthermore, the German army continued to insist on many small changes to a given tank's design, and these design changes were not aggregated and standardized into batches. This meant that there were differences between tanks that were only a few serial numbers apart. On the Tiger I tank, this was so bad that almost every third Tiger tank that rolled off the assembly line was effectively a unique product. The German industrial organization was not really designed for the efficient mass production of armored vehicles for a major sustained war. It was designed for profiteering and the production of high-ticket units. In addition, these private companies had issues enforcing uniform design tolerances across different factories, even within a single factory. The use of forced labor for the production of armored vehicles only had a further detrimental effect on both production, quantity, and quality. The German tank factories were designed to manufacture high-quality items assembled by skilled craftsmen, and this industrial model was entirely inadequate for the scale of the conflict. This is why Germany simply could not produce enough tanks.